Major Hurricane Ian set to make landfall in Florida shortly. Well, I don't think anyone expected to see Ian at this current intensity shortly before landfall, currently with winds of 155 miles an hour, that's 250 kilometers an hour, with a central pressure of 937 millibars. It is currently moving to the north-northeast at 9 miles an hour or 14 kilometers an hour, and once again it bears repeating that this is a high-end Category 4 set to make a catastrophic landfall in Florida very shortly. Wind fields of this system probably already impacting land by this point. 120 nautical miles to the northeast, 130 to the southeast, 100 to the southwest, and the biggest being the northwest right now, 150 nautical miles to the northwest. There is a hurricane warning in effect for the Chokoloskee to Anclote River, I hope I pronounced that correctly, apologies if I haven't, including Tampa Bay and Dry Tortugas. There is a tropical storm warning in effect for the areas scrolling across your screen right about now. Right now, this system is 70 miles away from Cape Coral, 87 from Port Charlotte, exactly 100 from Sarasota, 142 from Tampa, and exactly 200 from Orlando. That's 113 kilometers away from Cape Coral, 140 from Port Charlotte, 160 from Sarasota, 229 from Tampa, and 321 kilometers from Orlando. Once again, it bears repeating, a high-end Category 4 shortly expected to make landfall in the areas of Florida shortly. I believe it's an area near Tampa. Alright, and once again, storm surge watches are in effect for the areas scrolling across the screen, as are storm surge warnings. So once again, there they are. Once again, a high-end Category 4. Again, I don't think anyone expected to see this system reach this intensity. And once again, I believe it's still strengthening as well. So when it comes to maximum sustained winds, 155 miles an hour, a very high-end Category 4. The AMSU, however, going really low with 135, SATCON with 150, ourselves, the NHG and ATCF agreeing with 155, and ADT going slightly bullish with 157, which is indicative of a Category 5. So speaking of the National Hurricane Center, here's the latest cone from them as of Advisory 23A. As you can see, there is a lot of tropical storm warnings in effect, and hurricane warnings are in effect for the west coast of Florida as well. When it comes to the wind forecast from HWRF, as you can see, they expect a landfall intensity of, I believe, Category 3, but I think this system is outpacing this model as of now. The rainfall, however, when it comes to shortly before landfall, that's about 16 inches. When it comes to sea surface temperatures as well, like I said, they really don't matter anymore due to the storm's short proximity away from making landfall in the state of Florida. But once this system emerges off the coast, it should not have a problem affecting the Carolinas, but it will do at a much weakened strength. Chance of storm force winds, once again, 100% for most of the state of Florida, including Tampa and Orlando, and possibly Miami. Chance of hurricane force winds, Tampa's in the 90 to 100% range, Orlando slightly further less, Miami not in the forecast for hurricane force winds. But as this system traverses across Florida, you'll get less and less chances of hurricane force winds. Hopefully this holds true. Once again, as the system nears landfall, those chances could increase, but in the best case scenario, they don't. So when it comes to the rainfall forecast from the officials, Hurricane Ian especially is expected to dump at least 10 inches across the Tampa and Orlando range. Slightly north of Orlando, you can expect up to 15 inches all the way up to the east coast of Florida. So once again, this is not a system to be messed with. Again, 15 inches are expected in the worst case scenario spots. Tampa and Orlando expecting from 10 to 15 inches. Miami, you could expect about 1 to 2 inches. So when it comes to flash flooding potential as well, again, Tampa and Orlando are in a high range, which is at least 70%. Miami comes into a moderate range, which is 40%. Jacksonville as well, moderate. Tallahassee, still at least 5%. All the way up to Raleigh, I hope I pronounced that correctly, in North Carolina, a marginal at least 5% range. Charlotte just on the edge of 5 to 15% as well. Charleston in the moderate range, 40%. Okay, and when it comes to multi-model diagnostics, this is pretty much it for the storm models. Expect a lot of weakening from here on out. Deep layer shear is sort of not favorable for the system, but it will continue to rise as the system makes landfall. Sea surface temperatures don't really matter, but they still remain favorable up until landfall. As they emerge back out over water, it should start to dip. So here's the latest imagery from the Weather Nerds website. As far as I could gather, just look at that eye wall, just the amount of lightning that's present in there. This is indicative of a very strong system, which makes it worse. It's just about to make landfall at this intensity, possibly stronger. I hope not though.